Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo! Hump day?
Hey guys. Hopefully everything is set all right. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Back for another Wednesday evening, another episode of Let's Talk. And yeah, we'll see how this one goes. This was another week I was struggling a little bit to figure out what I was going to talk about. A couple of interesting things that I wanted to bring up to your guys' attention that I think hopefully you'll find interesting. Some of the main topics I know are things that we've seen other people talk about and cover before, but just wanted to talk about it a little bit myself, kind of throw my 2 cents into everything, and of course get your guys' opinions and see what you think as well. So welcome once again to another Wednesday evening Let's Talk with Bill's Retro Gaming Show. So glad all you guys could make it. Spend a minute here and just kind of say hi to who we've got in the chat as people are coming in. And let me see here a little earlier. I know I saw JJ in the chat and Jim the Pacers fan is here. Josh Dendy, of course, is here. We got Bobby One ALU hoping I'll bring good news tonight. I don't know if it's good news or not. It's probably more opinion and speculation than it is news, if I'm being quite honest. But maybe you'll agree with me on it, and maybe you won't. We got Jason NSS here. My LP4K will never get any more Williams tables. Maybe they just talking about Zen original tables. We'll get into that for sure. Burnt Orange Arcade, good to see you. Just 1 or 2 unreleased Williams tables left, right? You know what? I would actually probably have to go through what Zen has and hasn't released in terms of Williams. Now, obviously, there's a lot more that Zen has than just Williams that hasn't made its way to the 4KP yet. And why does my camera look weird? Hang on a second. Something looks a little weird and I'm not liking it. That's better. For some reason, I had mirror camera on. Didn't even realize it. That looks much better. All right. We're good. Let's keep going. Where did I leave off? John Fritz. John Fritz, good to see you here. Hello. Mystery Encoder. Hi, son. No, he's not really my son. It's a little bit of an inside joke. We were, if you guys missed it a little while back, he and I were on a show together. It might have been Michael B's show, if I remember correctly. And was like probably the first time ever, I think, that Mystery Encoder actually showed his face on camera, and everybody was saying we had some kind of resemblance. I don't know. So it's been kind of a running joke between the two of us for a while. Of course, moderator Jason Little Alien is here. Always good to have you here as well. Got J-Rod in the chat. B. Kirby, the Chicago arcade guy. Always good to see you as well. We got Thumper Squid here. Well, good, because sometimes I think that's probably about all it's worth, if I'm being quite honest. But always glad you guys are here. Israel Gaming, what's going on, Bill and friends? Good to see you. The 6th rendition of the week's news. Yeah. Sometimes it's just the way it goes. There's only, there's only so much the interesting stuff that you can talk about. So, we all wind up talking about the same thing. It's not any different than if you turn on, Fox or CNN or MSNBC or anything. They're all talking about the same crap, every single one of them. They just come at it from a different angle. So hopefully I come at it from a slightly different angle. We'll see. Brooklyn Menace, always good to see you here. Thank you very much. Brooklyn made a post earlier today. If you guys missed it, Brooklyn made a post earlier today in Facebook. He is selling some stands for the Time Crisis console. So if you happen to pick up one of those Time Crisis consoles and you want a stand to put your gun in, they're 3D printed. You can technically 3D print them yourself, but they take up a lot of filament and a lot of time to do it. And if you don't have a 3D printer, he's got a post up on eBay where he's selling them. So if you want a place to keep your guns for that new Time Crisis console, go ahead and check out Brooklyn Menace's post on Facebook and his where he's selling those on eBay. Let's see. Am I missing anybody? Stock Jock is here. Stock Jock is here. Always good to see you. Oh, this is a new name. Alan Jones. We need a new Mortal Kombat. I don't disagree with that. Especially if they're going to bring it out in one of those bigger formats, the Supreme, XL, whatever you want to call it. I think, even though people complain about retreads and rehashes from Arcade One Up, consistently, that is one of the few ones that people have said they want. They just want it in a bigger size. So fingers crossed on that one. And Connell is here as well. Hello. Just saw the stream. What's up? Good. I'm glad you found us, Connell. Always good to see you. All right. So let's dive in and let's get started on Stock Shock is only here to advertise his pickle. Whoa. Guys, don't forget to, after the show, I will have a redirect over to Arcades Anonymous. I have no idea what they're talking about tonight. They set up their stream a little bit late and there was no title or info on what they're talking about. But whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to be interesting. It usually is. As long as it's not about the Intellivision Sprint, I'm sure it'll be just fine. Just kidding. I actually like the Intellivision. I'm a fan of all those old consoles, Atari, Intellivision, ColecoVision, of course, was my favorite. So I'm a fan of all of those things. It's funny because I know Mike B was busting their chops about that. So I'm jumping on the bandwagon on that one a little bit. All right, let me bring some of this stuff up. We can get started on this. Let's see. And start with this. All right, so if any of you guys have been following, let me see if I can make this a little bigger without killing it. All right, so if any of you guys have been following the news about this M64 machine, this is another FPGA machine that's going to be able to do Nintendo 64 games. I'll bring this up here first, actually. So this is a new machine, very similar to that Analog 3D. It's going to be able to do N64 games, native emulation, FPGA hardware, not software emulation. And they just sent, and this is still, coming soon, join the wait list, not up for pre-orders or for sale just yet, but they are getting closer. So they just sent this email out to, people who, kind of registered on their website to get information on it. It says, this is Torin, CEO of Mod Retro. It's about time we send out an M64 update. So let's jump right in. Early production is almost done. Soon, we're moving into mass production with some of those early production units going out to reviewers to take them for a test drive. Now, I wish I was one of those reviewers, but they did not reach out to me, so that's probably not going to happen. But with that in mind, we need your help. Please take a look at the attached image of our 4 colorways. We've officially decided to also offer red at launch. So originally, they had 3 different colors, a purple, a green, and a clear. And they've now added red into that mix as well. Take the survey on which one you'll be ordering. This will help us ensure you get the color you want as we start shipping in a few months. So if anybody has plans to order one of these M64 machines from Mod, Retro, you could take this survey to let them know which color you're most interested in, so that they make sure when they go into production and they start making these, that they make enough of the different colors that everybody gets what they want. And they put out a little bit of information about the M64 just so that people can have a little more information on it. It says it contains one of the most special PCBAs in any consumer hardware that we know of. Black pre-preg and a clear solder mask with gold traces. I'm not going to even pretend I know what that's all about. I know Mystery Encoder is in the chat here. He probably knows exactly what this stuff is. See the image below. There's a reason you never see this. It's expensive and takes forever, but the result is truly beautiful. And this is what it looks like. This is what they're talking about. This is basically a look at what the board in the machine looks like. So, for all you people who nerd out about that kind of stuff, that's what they're talking about. More importantly is this. M64 will boot into gameplay in 4 to 5 seconds and contains an ultra low latency Bluetooth device, which pairs with our wired/wireless Ultimate Trident controller, which will come shortly after the M64. M64 is full of mechanical Easter eggs. A hot pink hidden latch under the cartridge flaps can optionally keep them open all the time. An easy eject mechanism allows you to eject the cartridge without pulling the console off the ground. If you've ever owned, if you've ever owned a real N64, that cartridge kind of jams in there pretty good, and you've got to like hold the console down to pull the cartridge out, or you can lift the console by the cartridge sometimes. So that's good to know. A special light pipe will uplight the cartridge so you can see your game art in the dark. Interesting. Considering that most of these, the machines that they're doing are kind of like a clear color where you can kind of see inside. That's kind of cool. As you come to expect from us, we'll continually work at a rapid pace on firmware after the device ships. Tell you what's going in the pipeline as we go. So that's a little information on the M64, and just asking people to do this survey. I cannot speak tonight. Survey to let them know which color they're interested in. And let's see. I need to share this screen instead now. There we go. So here's another look at the 4 different colors. So you've got your kind of lime green, you got this purplish one, the clear one here, and then they've added this new red one, which I kind of like. I kind of think it looks pretty cool. But let me see, what are you guys saying here? Besides all the pickle talk, which I see. Intellivision rules, and I still have no idea what we're talking about tonight. Well, that should make the show very interesting, Stock Shock. We're not going to talk about how big pickles are. What do we got here? So you're saying it will be easier to pull out. I could take that in a couple of different ways, but the cartridge, yes, that's what they're saying. That it should be easier to take the cartridges in and out of this system. Heard those M64s are very pricey. Let me see. Are they? I don't even know if they've advertised a price on this yet. But then again, the analog 3Ds were pretty pricey also. If they're at least in the same range, then they're definitely comparable to each other. I honestly don't know what the price is going to be on this yet. I don't know if they've actually officially announced it. Here's a look at the controller that they're coming out with, which obviously looks very, very similar to a normal N64 controller. I think it looks pretty cool, actually. Looks fine, but they should never have used those button/switches on the top. Looks Fisher Price. I can't say I disagree with you on that, Jason. They do look a little toyish on the top. I mean, I will say this. I like the shape. Is a better look. I'm going to pull the red one up because that's the newest one that they talked about. I like the overall shape because it's very reminiscent of the original N64. I like the 4 controller ports in the front for original controllers. But yeah, I can't say I disagree on these buttons up here. They could have gone with like a more sleek design than that. That is for sure. Brooklyn likes the green and black one. So that's this one and this one here. And they do look very cool. The green one, very much reminds me. I know there was, I know the N64 came in a bunch of colors, but very prominently, I remember seeing the green ones a lot. So it really does kind of remind me of that. And JJ says they're going to be around $200 for the M64 after doing a bit of Googling. So thank you for doing the extra research for me. I appreciate that very much so. They must have added that center shoulder button to avoid getting sued on this thing. Possibly. The Fantastic N64s also had transparent cartridge doors. I don't like the gray on the transparent ones. Well, still, I wanted to throw this out there to you guys because, again, I know I said a lot of people were, very interested in the analog 3D. People have been watching this. Oh, there's that switch they're talking about. That you can see it kind of going by there. That pink switch to help keep the cartridge door open on that. But if I didn't already own an actual N64, I'd probably be a little more interested in this because honestly, I don't know. I don't know what the major advantage is other than the easy. Obviously, it's going to have HDMI port. It's going to be an easy hookup to a newer TV. It's probably got some upscaling built into it, but I mean, for the money, I could probably at this point, I could buy a retro tank if I really want to do the upscaling. There's already plenty of devices that are cheap enough. I mean, for $10, you can get a device that hooks up to HDMI, the component cables to HDMI, easy enough. Upscaling not that hard to do either. So again, if I didn't already have a real N64 that I picked up at a show last year, I'd be more interested in one of these. But I do, again, like to put this out there to you guys in case you're interested. Now, there's a couple other things that I wanted to talk about really quick before we get into some. I swear to you, I don't know what is wrong with my mouth. And I literally am just drinking water tonight. This is not a 19K Fox show. It is literally just water. But for some reason, my mouth doesn't want to work completely tonight. All right, let's get into these things really quick, and then I will get into more of some of the main topics. But I thought you guys would find this interesting, especially if you're like me and you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, watching a lot of cartoons and different things like this. Some of this stuff is really going to hit you right in the nostalgias. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. MG, can't stay just up. I just say have a good stream later. Oh, MG, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate you stopping by just to say hi. Absolutely. I'll catch you next time. Hopefully we can play a little walkabout golf again soon. But this looks pretty cool. So, and I know people sometimes have issues with limited run games, but one of the things for sure with them is they are very good at bringing out games that really hit that nostalgia feel, bringing them out physically when most of the time it's just going to be digital. And that's what you're getting here. So this is a 7-game retro collection from limited run games. And I'm going to show you all the goodies that you can get with the full on. Let me blow this up a little bit. So they're bringing out, this is the Ren and Stimpy Happy Happy Joy Joy collection with 7 games. The games are going to be from the Game Boy, NES, and SNES. You're going to get the Ren and Stimpy Show Space Cadet Adventures, which was a Game Boy game. Vidiots for SNES and Game Boy versions. Buckaroos, NES and SNES. Time Warp, SNES, and Fire Dogs, SNES. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's your 7 games right there. 2 games that are not included are Quest for the Shaven Yak and Stimpy's Invention. Possibly maybe they were made by different companies than these other ones, and that's why they can't put them in this collection. Not totally sure, but it looks like Limited Run Games is going to have this up for pre-order starting January 30th and running through, I think it is March 1st. So through March 1st. It's going to be $70 for the classic edition, which comes with a retro VHS cover and a steel case, and $110 for the collector's edition, where you get all of these goodies here. And boy, there's a lot of stuff here. So you get these mini cart replicas. You get a double-sided poster from Ren and Stimpy. You get this is the VHS slipcase and VHS tape box. You can see they've got it for PC, for PlayStation, for Switch. It's probably also going to come to Xbox. You get game booklets, crazy caps, trading cards, a steel case for Switch or G2, whatever G2 is. You get a CD soundtrack, you get a diorama, so you get a whole bunch of stuff for $110 on this if you're up for ponying up that kind of money for something like that. So if this is these are games that you had a lot of nostalgia for, it's always good to see Limited Run Games bring these things out physically. Like I said, pre-order start the end of this month, go through the beginning of March, and this is going to ship sometime between July and September of this year. So what do you guys think of all of that? Let's see. Bill is overhydrated. That's the problem. Too much water. That's definitely the problem. Hey, Cornercade. Good to see you. J-Rod giving some laughs to Ren and Stimpy. I loved Ren and Stimpy. I thought Ren and Stimpy was just freaking hysterical. No, we are not talking in television tonight. J-Rod says, I was just talking about that show the other day, Stimpy's Magic Nose Goblins, and when he lost his fart Stinky. Those shows were just so imaginative. I mean, you cannot do shows like that nowadays. I mean, I guess the closest thing is South Park, and I don't really watch South Park, but I guess that's probably, still in the spirit of a lot of these 90s shows for sure. Brooklyn, I know Brooklyn's a huge fan of Limited Run Games. He has just about Brooklyn. You've got almost everything that they've come out with, I think. You've said Limited Run Games have improved greatly over the years. I no longer wait years for my shipments, and they keep you up to date on all your orders. So that's always good. Hey, Joe Cade. Good to see you, brother. Glad you're here. That VHS tape rocks. Yeah, listen. Look, if you're going to spend $110, give me some value. Give me some cool stuff. And that is really cool for sure. Just to have that, just to sit on your shelf is really awesome. If someone has a VCR player, I hope there's something on it. I don't think so. I think it's just for display for sure. It's not even a real. It's not even a real tape. You get the box and this VHS, or if it is, it actually might be an actual VHS tape, but I don't think but it doesn't look like there's any actual tape in it. It may just be, the plastic casing for one. It's still, it's still pretty cool. It's still pretty cool. Just because it's so reminiscent of the 90s and watching all these shows on VHS and stuff like that. Brooklyn says it's his favorite cartoon of all time. 50 or more. Wow. So that is a lot. I love those mini carts. I'm in trouble. Well, if you are nostalgic for old cartoons and you don't want to spend that kind of money, I got another collection for you that you might want to keep an eye out for. And that's this one. This is the Disney Afternoon Collection, which got kind of semi-announced / leaked fairly recently when an ESRB rating went up for on Switch, for Switch 1 and 2. But it actually just showed up on the Japanese eShop, which, means that it's very likely that it is going to show up on, the American, the US eShop, hopefully soon. Because this is one I would definitely love to check out. This looks like it's going to be a really, really cool one. So I said I spotted the listing earlier today, and it's listed at 2,300 yen, which is about 11 British pounds or 14 USD, which means I would expect this is probably $20. Expect pricing to be a little higher on the West. Switch 2 with a 10% pre-order discount and a release date of February 26th. I guess over in Japan. So hopefully we'll hear more about this soon and when it's going to be available here. But the games list on this is phenomenal if you're a fan of these games. You got Bonkers, Chippendales Rescue Rangers, Chippendale Rescue Rangers 2, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, DuckTales 2, Goof Troop, and Tailspin. So I loved these cartoons. These were some of my favorite. DuckTales Rescue Rangers. I watch those shows all the time. I can't even say as a kid because I was in college in the 90s. I guess I was still kind of a kid, but I still loved watching this stuff, man. So this is definitely, and it's coming from Digital Eclipse, who always do a really good job with this stuff. I'll bring up the trailer real quick so you guys can see a little bit of some of that. But this definitely looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, these games were so cool. The trailer only lists 6 games, but now it looks like they've added Bonkers and Goof Troop, which weren't originally set to be part of this, apparently. But, all the same features you come to expect from these Digital Eclipse releases with Rewind and things like that. Bumped it up to 1080p. As long as I keep it in the correct aspect ratio, then I'm good with it. All this behind the scenes stuff is always really, really cool and fun to have. So it looks like this is going to be a lot of fun. So I am absolutely looking forward to this officially getting announced and coming out. But anyway, so that is another game collection coming out hopefully pretty soon. And one, like I said, I know I'm looking forward to it for sure. It'd be nice if they would release it in a physical version as well. Who knows? Maybe that's another thing Limited Run will pick up. But even digital, it's something I would love to see. Gamer Fridge is here saying, "What's up?" Thank you very much. And we got Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger, here with a super chat, $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Sorry I'm late. Bill, are you going to Toy Fair? And I will answer that in 1 second. But first, let's see. Let's do this one.
Yeah!
All right. Thank you so much, Ezekiel, for the super chat. So to answer your question, no, I am not going to Toy Fair. I wish I could. The problem is it is not open to the public. You have to be, an insider, either a company that's selling games and toys and stuff like that you're showing off and promoting your stuff, or a store, a retail space, a buyer or whatever who's going to look at the stuff. It's a trade show. It's designed for buyers and sellers more than anything. Now they do allow in, certain press and things like that, but like even high level content creators aren't getting in unless they get like a special invite from one of the attendees. So, and since I'm nowhere near that, that ain't happening anytime soon. However, I will say this: I've had a little contact back and forth with somebody who does go to these shows, so I'm hoping that maybe I can get him to maybe give me a little information after the show. We'll see. Because the other thing you have to realize is a lot of times, you're there. A lot of the stuff you see is under embargo, or I don't even know if you have to sign an NDA, or if it's you might have to sign some kind of NDA when you go there and things like that you're not going to talk about, or you're not going to talk about it until like the appropriate time. Like for instance, last year we got that article in the Toy Book magazine about Basic Fun, and for a lot of us that was our first real look at what Basic Fun was doing. But that article didn't come out till several months after Toy Fair. There was a reason for that, I'm sure. So it's very possible that we won't get all of the information out of Toy Fair right away. And I'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. I'm gonna get into that in just a couple of minutes. Let me not get ahead of myself on there. Just make a pickle. That'll get you in. Maybe if I had something to sell. We need an inside man, a spy. Well, like I said, I have been in a little bit of contact with somebody who I know will be there, but again, I don't know how much he's going to be able to or allowed to share. So we'll see what happens. But let's spend a couple of minutes talking about this, because I know this has been some really interesting stuff for a lot of you guys lately. And we're going to talk a little AtGames first, and then I'll get into the whole Basic Fun Toy Fair thing and what I think is going to happen there. So I know a lot of you guys have seen this already. Let me just bring this up real quick and talk about it. It says, attention pinball community. We wanted to share a quick update on 2026 pinball table releases. We continue collaborating with our existing partners and building out our digital pinball library to bring you lots of exciting new content, plus some surprises for the entire Legends product line. At the time, we're also developing AtGames original tables that we can't wait to reveal with our Nod event coming this February. You can also expect some great deals and promotions along the way. 2026 is shaping up to be an amazing year. Stay tuned, and we'll share updates as soon as they're available. So a lot of people have seen this, and then, of course, they've also seen this, which, of course, would be the latest Pinball Bites, where they revealed the new set of tables coming out, which are the Bethesda tables. Fallout. What do we got? We got Fallout, we got Skyrim, and Doom coming out. Now, what's really got people concerned in terms of AtGames is the fact that when they talked about this and they talked about the platforms that this was coming to, AtGames was not mentioned. As a matter of fact, if you go to Zen Studios website and you look at this, it says Bethesda Pinball coming February 12th, and it lists Pinball Effects, Pinball M, Pinball Effects VR, Zen Pinball World, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, Nintendo Mobile, so on and so forth listed here. But AtGames isn't listed anywhere on the website. And that has kind of raised the alarm for a lot of people. Now, I'm going to tell you why I don't think you should be concerned just yet on this. We'll have to, and we'll have to wait and see how things go. Reading between the lines, that sounds an awful lot like, sorry guys, we lost Zen, but you're really gonna like our original tables. Zen has removed the AtGames logo from their website as well. Hey Mo, good to see you. Just came in and all I heard was Skyrim. Yeah, well, we're talking about the new Zen pinball tables. And Mr. and Cody, you're kind of getting to the heart of it. I don't think those tables are coming to the 4KP. That doesn't mean no Zen tables will. And that's kind of where I'm leaning right now. I don't think this is necessarily the death knell of Zen with AtGames. I think people are reading too much into it. Because at no point with Zen and AtGames has either side said that new tables that Zen releases are going to be, day and date released for AtGames. Now, it's happened recently, like with Tomb Raider, like with Elvira, although Elvira, I think, was not the same day, right? Wasn't that delayed just a little bit until those came out? But, still announced that they were coming and came out relatively soon afterwards. So there's nothing that says these have to come out on the 4KP or that, they won't come out at a later date. Now, it could be a couple of reasons for that. One of the things that I find interesting about these particular for the 600, is it coming to the Switch too now? That's interesting because they don't. Well, the funny thing is they just on Zen's website as a platform, they just mentioned Nintendo. They don't mention Switch or Switch 2. I would assume, why wouldn't it be on the Switch 2? If it's backward, Switch 2 is backwards compatible. You could at least run the version that's on Switch 2, can't you? There's licensing costs associated with larger IP. So yeah, so let me get into that. So that's one thing. There could be some additional licensing that goes along with this. And I know a lot of people have said, yeah, but isn't Bethesda Microsoft? Don't AtGames already have a relationship with Microsoft? Yes and no. Yes, they have a relationship with Microsoft insofar as they did those rare tables, the Sea of Thieves, Battletoads, Killer Instinct. But remember, those were not Zen tables. Those were AtGame original tables. These are Zen tables. So the licensing is going to be a little different there. So that could be one thing. Now, another thing that I think is really interesting about this particular one is, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think this is the first time I've seen them list tables for both Pinball FX and Pinball M. Usually, if it's a Pinball M table, it's a Pinball M table. Or if it's, Pinball FX, it's Pinball FX. This is interesting that they're listing both of them. And I'm curious why that is. Are they planning on having slightly different content for the M version? Maybe especially like with Doom and Fallout and all, maybe it's a little bloodier. Maybe there's a few extra words in the call outs on it. Not sure, but keep that in mind for any of you who are going to be purchasing this for other platforms, whether it's PC or console or whatever. There might be a slight difference between the Pinball FX version and the Pinball M version. And if you're a big Pinball M fan and you'd rather have it with all the extra naughty stuff, that might be the version that you want to purchase. Now, I don't know. They could be exactly the same. Could just be a marketing thing or whatever. I don't know. But it is just interesting to me that they're listing it for both. And that's part of the issue too. Maybe AtGames is trying to decide which version they ultimately want to have. Let's see. They did announce that beginning last June, future new releases are going to be day. Zen did announce it. Oh, did they? Okay. Well, thank you for correcting me on that. I guess I must have either I missed that or I forgot about that. So it is interesting that this one isn't. My main table is Attack from Mars, Medieval Madness. If those are missing from my digital pinball table, I don't have a reason to buy it versus just playing my pinball effects on PC. Now, that's assuming that if they lose Zen, that they will lose the existing tables. And that's a whole nother ball of wax. Now, could that happen? Of course it could. I just did a video yesterday talking about the Arcade 1-Up Infinity game table and how they've now lost the Hasbro license, which means that the Hasbro games are no longer available. Now, I even said in that video that some people have said that they still have them on there. Some people have said that they're gone altogether. When I reached out to Arcade 1-Up's customer service, they did indicate that if you already had the tables, already had the games on your board or your table, that you should technically still have them. So it's not necessarily true that if they lose Zen, that all of a sudden every Zen table that you purchased is just suddenly going to disappear. Look, it's digital content. It's a licensing. It's always possible. See people say it all the time. You don't own these games. You're renting them. Basically, you've bought a license to them, which could go away at any time for sure. But it's not necessarily the case. And again, people have drawn comparisons to when before iArcade went out, when they lost Double Dragon. But the thing with that is, if you already owned Double Dragon, it didn't just suddenly disappear. You still had it. It was just if you bought an iArcade, a brand new iArcade, it wasn't going to be available. And then they took away 2 and 3, so you couldn't purchase those. But again, if you'd already purchased them, you didn't lose them. So there's no reason to necessarily think that you're going to lose them. Zen isn't cheap. AtGames isn't making the money on those 4KPs they did at launch. As a result, we went from monthly releases to nothing. That screams to me they are behind in payments. Jim the Pacers fan, I have more than enough tables to play now. I do have a lot of tables on mine. I think I'm caught up on everything on my HD at this point. There's nothing that I don't own on it at this point. That's why I held off on the HP. Yeah, the HDP, which is the one that is themed after the Ninja Turtles. Yeah, we'll talk about that real quick too. Makes it even odder that AtGames hasn't even been collecting money due via their affordable fund. People have gone 3 to 6 months without pay. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Exactly, the Hasbro games. Yeah, from the iArcade board. Yep, EULA is absolutely. Maybe when iArcade remove games. Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Encoder, and you would know better than most. Weren't some of those games that they didn't necessarily purchase? They just kind of were able to put on their machines. I get your sentiment, and I believe it or not, I agree that it was a crappy thing to do, but I don't think most of that was games that they bought. So there is a little bit of a difference. Yeah, as many have stated, AtGames can't get out of their own way. This is so very, very true. And it does, I'll tell you, it does concern me for the HDP, which is at this point, their middle tier one, the Turtles themed one, because I was very interested in that one when I thought that the Zen games were going to be coming to it. If they're not going to do Zen anymore, or if for whatever reason they can't work out a deal to bring Zen tables to that, to my mind, that machine is dead in the water. There's no point to that machine anymore, unless you're going to go full bore or all in and say, you know what, we're not going to support the HD anymore. This is the new HD, which would suck for a lot of us HD owners. But look, like, it's no different than, you know, a console. You know, PS5 is out. They're not really making new PS4 games that much anymore. I think a handful still come out, but at some point, you know, there's not going to be any new PS4 games. If you want to play the newest games, you got to get a PS5. So, you know, that's just something that kind of happens. But still, if they can't figure out something for that, I don't necessarily see a point to that middle tier one. And to make my analogy with the PS5, at least with PlayStation or Xbox or even Switch, the new Switch, at least that stuff's backwards compatible. You know, I got a PS5. I can still play all my PS4 games because it was backwards compatible with it. If I get a Switch 2, I'm still going to be able to play my Switch 1 games. If I go to this HDP, I got to buy all my games again. Now, I did buy a lot of tables for it. I also had a lot of tables sent to me by AtGames. Just fair is fair to say that. But I'd have to buy them if I want to have them on the HDP. So it does kind of suck. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. And remember, they just came out with Black Knight 2000. So Black Knight 2000 just came out a couple of weeks ago. So it's not necessarily the end of things. There still could be more stuff coming. I do happen to know, and it's not Zen, but keep your eyes out. Probably next week they're going to release another deluxe table. I'm not going to say which one because I kind of stumbled on it. I know which one it is. I think it's completely ready to go. You know, it's always possible they could push it back, but I believe it's set for next week. They haven't announced it yet, so I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to get in trouble. But there is a new deluxe table coming out next week, so there is something new coming out for the machine. As far as Zen goes, we will just have to wait and see what happens. And I don't necessarily disagree with this. If they lose the Zen tables, they're cooked. AtGames went backwards. They released a Switch 2, then said you can't afford that. Here's a Switch 1. Yeah, I mean, I kind of see it. Like I said, at the time, I actually thought that I still think that HDP is a good idea because you get all the features of the 4KP without it being 4K and at a slightly lesser price. Yeah, that's why I'm not saying what it is. I don't think it's that big a deal for me to say, hey, it looks like a new table's coming out next week. As long as I don't announce it ahead of time, they're not going to get mad at me. So I'm not worried about it. If you buy a new computer and Steam makes you rebuy all your games. Yeah, I mean, it would suck if they did that. But then again, look at Zen. Every time they come out with a new version of Pinball Effects, they make you buy the tables over again. Now they do discounts and things like that, but AtGames does the same thing. If I bought the HDP, I'd have a little bit of time to rebuy the tables at a discount. So I don't necessarily have to pay full price. If I'm willing to buy them all up front and pay all up front, I could get them at a discounted price. So as far as Zen tables is concerned, yes, you're right. All the other tables, the Magic Pixel and all that stuff, do run in 4K. It's only the Zen ones, and they're still, most of them are 2K, so it's still better than HD. But I totally understand that. You know, you're being sold something that says it's a 4K machine, and not everything runs in 4K. So I understand why people feel like that's kind of a misleading thing. All right, let me take a few minutes and get off of this because I spent enough time on that and just talk real quick about Basic Fun / Arcade One Up and the toy fair that's coming up in New York. Now, again, God, I wish this is something I could go to. This is something I've known has been a thing for years because I live in New York. It's at the Javits Center. I go to the Javits Center for a lot of things. The International Car Show is there in April. I like going to that because I always think seeing the new cars, the concept cars are really cool. A lot of times they've got driving simulators set up, which are really fun. I think I'm going to go again this year. It's always right around Easter in April. I go to New York Comic Con at the Javits Center every year in October. And, occasionally throughout the year, there's some other things going on there. So the toy fair is going to be there at the Javits Center, February 14th through 17th. Unfortunately, it is for insiders only. It's not open to the public. You can't just get tickets and go. You got to be a retailer or a manufacturer or, so a buyer or, invited by an attendee or things like that. It's just completely closed out to the public. So let me set expectations first, because I don't think enough people have done this. Let me set expectations. It's very possible that we won't hear a lot of information. I think we'll get some, but it's very possible that we won't hear a lot of information immediately following the show. Because again, this is a trade show. They're there to get retailers to buy what they're making. They're there to, get some hype and whatever for things that are coming out. So whatever information that comes out is going to be limited to what they want to come out. Remember, when Basic Fun was there last year showing off their new arcade classics line, it was behind closed doors at a trade show. Okay, it wasn't even open for everybody who was there to see. You had to go behind closed doors even to look at that stuff there. Now, we'll see what happens this year. Are they going to be a little more open, or are they going to do the same thing? Now, Basic Fun's going to be there, regardless because they're a toy company. Basic Fun have always gone to toy fair, or at least have gone for years, as far as I know, prior to any of us in the home arcade showing any degree of interest in it, because they're a toy company showing off Fisher Price and Tonka and My Little Pony and, Light Bright and Care Bears and, all these other brands that they own. This is just another new brand for them. First Arcade Classics, now with Arcade One Up. So I do think they're going to be there. I do think they're going to show things off. I know people have been talking about the WrestleFest Supreme, the XL version of the WrestleFest. Fairly confident that is something that will be there. Ninja Turtles is another one that people have been talking about. Fairly confident that will be there too. That seems kind of like a no-brainer. But in terms of what else could be there, honestly, at this point, I just don't know. Do you know of any YouTubers that are going or who have the credentials to be able to go to Toy Fair? Off the top of my head, no. I know who was it? Was it Irate Gamers? There was somebody there last year who did a podcast from there, but it was audio only. They didn't have any video to it. So and then I think that podcast even got taken down at one point, or they took it down. So I don't know. It's not I'll say it's not a big one for, if any YouTubers are going to be there, they're probably YouTubers who are more in the toy space than the gaming space, if you know what I mean. So will they have any information about basic fun with Arcade Classics or Arcade One Up. If they're doing overall coverage, it's something that they might see. So definitely kind of keep an eye on things. But again, it depends on whether or not they have the stuff behind closed doors again, or whether it's open to the show floor where anybody going by can see what they have. And right now, we don't know what kind of what they're going to do. YouTubers in the toy space, so like B Kong. Listen, if anybody was going to get that kind of, if anybody that I know of was going to get that kind of invite, and I don't think he's got it, I don't think he's going, it would be a guy like Cool Toy, possibly, because I know he covers a lot of the kind of stuff that they show there, not just the home arcade kind of stuff. And he's, but I don't even know if he's got. I'm going to be honest, I don't even know if he's got the numbers for it. Usually, you've got to be, like, in the high 100,000 kind of numbers to get invited to these kind of things. So we'll have to see. Are we ready for Home Arcade XL editions to be back? I don't know. We will have to wait and see. I do think that there will be some, for sure. Like I said, I think that WrestleFest for sure will be there. Are we going to see any other Supremes? I don't know. Like I said, I've heard from somebody who saw some stuff I heard from somebody who had seen some of the stuff last year that didn't come out this year. That there's still some exciting stuff down in the pipeline. I'm guessing some of those things are held over, and that's part of what they'll show this year as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they have in store. I hope we're going to get some information fairly soon coming out of the show. But at this point, like I said, I would say temper your expectations, and don't think you're going to get a deluge of information like the day the show, from the show or as soon as the show ends. I think we might just get a little at a time, kind of like we did this year. They might wait and see where things go, what other retailers are interested, maybe besides even Spreetail, and where things go from there. JJ, thanks for setting the stage on this. It sucks they are so secretive, but I guess toy sales are cutthroat. Yeah, they can be. And my vote is for yeah. The most important item to see coming out of Toy Fair for Basic Fun is the return of BOE monitors. People are tired of playing Cloud City over and over again on that Return of the Jedi cab. Well, again, we'll see. And it also depends on exactly how much detail and how much information they want to put out coming out of the show. I mean, it could just be, hey, here's the titles we have coming, without any like real information on that kind of stuff. What you really have to understand is that, the rank and file people out there who, unfortunately, a lot of times is what these companies are more interested in, don't care what kind of monitor it is, don't care what kind of joystick or button it has. Just, and I'm going to say it and you guys are going to yell at me, but I'm going to say it anyway. Just, oh, look, I can play Pac-Man in my home. We're the ones who get into the nitty gritty on things like that. And I think that information does come out eventually. You start to find out more information as time goes on. You start to find out more information about the specs of these things, but it might not necessarily be the big news right away. So again, I'm saying temper your expectations. There might not be a ton of information right away. I do think we'll get some information. I think we'll get more information as time goes on. But this community tends to panic really easily when they don't hear what they want to hear and they don't hear it immediately. And I've been guilty of that myself. So don't panic right away. I said the same thing about CES. said, if there's no information coming out of CES, don't panic. Toy Fair's around the corner. I'm going to say the same thing again. Toy Fair's right around the corner. We know Basic Fun's going to be there. It's pretty much a done deal that they're going to be showing off some of their arcade classics, arcade one up, whatever, however they go with the line there. But if you don't get a ton of information out of the show right away, don't panic. It's coming. All right. What new IP will show up? Qbert? I don't know. My guess, if I had to just throw a speculation guess out there, this is their second year doing this. Okay. And we saw what happened with their first year. They didn't come out with nearly the title. They didn't come out with nearly the machines I think that they wanted to, which is why some things got held back. It's why we didn't see Ninja Turtles. It's why the WrestleFest Supreme didn't come out. And some of the other bigger machines, like some of the bigger machines, didn't come out. Supposedly, again, there was going to be a Pac-Man. I don't believe it was just that junior Pac-Man mini one. I think that they probably have plans to bring out like an ultra-sized Pac-Man as well. And that's something that they could show. What I'm saying is they might play it's their second year bringing this out and their first year having acquired Arcade 1-Up. They might play it safe, at least for the first part of the year. They might play it safe with some titles that they think are well-known and that people will buy, even if they're rehashes of stuff we've already seen from Arcade 1-Up. So again, if that's the case, it's still not necessarily time to panic. I think hit the microphone. Sorry about that. It's the Italian in me. I have to move the hands. I can't talk if the hands aren't moving. I still think there's going to be new and interesting stuff coming down the road. I just think there's also that possibility that maybe they want to play it a little safe going into things and seeing how people react to the new acquisition of the Arcade 1-Up stuff. So I'm open-minded. I'm curious to see what happens. I'm hoping maybe I can sneak some information out of there. We'll see. I'm going to try my best, but I'm still looking forward to it. I'm still looking forward to Toy Fair. I'm still interested to see what they're going to show off and what it means for things in the future. So, guys, all is not lost. I still think there's some really good stuff coming, and hopefully we will get some good information out of the show. If not right away, then fairly quickly after the show. But guys, I'm going to leave it there. I think that's enough for now. Like I said, I didn't want to beat that one too much because I know a lot of other people have covered it already. I just wanted to kind of throw my 2 cents in on that one as well. I know it's 9:00. A little after 9, Arcades Anonymous is getting started, and I know a lot of you guys want to go over and watch them. So I am going to end things here. And I agree with this. We could use at least one nice surprise. This is true. It would be nice to see. It would be nice to see, even if they're going to do some play it safe retreads, throw one really good one in there. And last one, real quick, just on the off chance that somebody's listening to this from there, if you're going to do a play it safe retread, somebody said it at the beginning of the show. I apologize. I don't remember who it was, but Mortal Kombat in an XL Supreme size is a safe bet. It's one Arcade 1-Up has done lots of times. It's one that sells well for them. People have been clamoring for the bigger size in a Mortal Kombat. So if you're going to go with a play it safe, that's one of the ones to go with. And I will leave it there, other than to pull this up and say, I think this year will be pretty active for Basic Fun. I hope they research the last 7 years of A1-Up releases and what features were hits and misses with the community and step it up going forward. I hope so too. Jason, from, your mouth to God's ears. Let's hope that that's true. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. If you're heading over to Arcade One Up, say hi for me to the guys. If you're calling it a night, enjoy whatever is rest of your Wednesday night. Not sure if there's going to be a show next week or not yet, but I will definitely be back soon. So hope to catch you guys then. And in the meantime, guys, take care and happy gaming. I'll see you next time. Bye.